Welcome to Travelpop on Cavan Online Radio with your host Daniel Downey. Travelpop, where we talk about one country every week for 10 minutes. And this week we're talking about Norway. That's North European country Norway. It's a white wonderland, but sometimes green during the summer. But I've got 10 minutes to talk to you about it. Well, Norway has 5 million people. They use a different currency even though they are in Europe, called the kroner. And the climate's 30 degrees to minus 25 degrees in the winter time. It's a complete contrast of climates, but it's a brilliant place to visit. If you want to know more about public transport, log on to www.rutebok.no, that's rutebok.no, and it's one of the most fantastic public transport systems in the world. They will get you across all the mountainous, forested and wild landscapes that you need to get over. So we're breaking down into 3 areas. There are 3 distinct areas. The first one is the northern area. It's full of fjords. For those people who don't know what fjords are, they're big long inlets. They're gorgeous kind of sheer canyons that fall into the water, kind of like sunken Grand Canyons, but Norway is full of them. There's another beautiful attraction in the north, and you can rent a cabin in the wilderness and you can stay there. And that's what we did. We stayed in a cabin and did nature walks and hiking and fishing and stuff like that. And the website we used was www.banja.no. That's BANJA.no, and they're beautiful little cabins with turf on the top and stuff like that, growing cabins. Also, one of the reasons to go to the northern area is talk about the midnight sun, to say you've seen it, but also in the winter to see the aurora borealis, and that is incredible. That's the northern lights, when the entire landscape lights up in greens, purples, blues, and it's a magical experience that most of us will never get to see, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. If you do want to see the midnight sun and you want to see the aurora borealis, you're going to have to go there at 2 times a year, because you can only see them at opposite ends of the year. If you're in northern Norway, you also want to go see the Sami reindeer culture. You can see the Sami people. They're the natives of Norway, and they do reindeer riding, reindeer tricks. They bring you out with the reindeer, and it's pretty incredible. Also, go to Tromsø town. That's one of the main towns in the area along the coast. You can do paragliding over the fjords. You can do cross-country skiing in the wintertime and dog sledding. And at the same time, and only with a guide, you can do glacier walking when you're out there as well, and it's a unique opportunity. The second section talk about is what they say Eastern Norway, but really that's Oslo. Oslo is the capital city of Norway. It's a really clean, well laid out city. It's full of museums, so definitely try and get to see the Polar Museum, which talks about all the polar explorations and all that kind of stuff. And it's pretty interesting because they have a room there that you can go in to experience what the polar landscape is like. They have the Kon-Tiki Museum. That's the museum of the guy who crossed the Atlantic in a homemade little raft to prove that Vikings could have done it in the old days. That's pretty incredible as well. And if you're into art and architecture and stuff like that, you can go to the Munch Museum, where you can see the Scream, that famous painting that everybody loves so much. Also in Oslo, you can do forest cycling outside the city. It's an incredible experience to do. You just take your bike and go off, and you just go up or down the coast, cycling through the forests there. Well, Oslo is a clean, amazing city. It's also kind of a sanitized city. It's not a city I'd stay longer than maybe 24, 48 hours in. Beautiful people, lovely, friendly people, but just not really, if you're looking for an adventure holiday, not the kind of place to go. If you do want an adventure holiday, you go to the north, where we've talked about, but more, go to the west. It's got everything in it that you could possibly want. In the west, you have, first of all, Bergen, which is a gorgeous old town of multicoloured houses and waterfront boardings and things like that, and the fish is incredible, the food is amazing. Everywhere you look is just markets and street sellers, and it's absolutely beautiful, a wonderful place to visit. Do try and get to the Trondheim Arctic City. It's further north along the west coast, and it is a place where you will experience the Arctic season starting to come in early in August and September. You can also do a kayak tour in that city, where they put you in a boat, and in the kayak you can go up and down the river that runs alongside the streets in the city, and it's pretty amazing. If you're in the west, there's a few things that you definitely have to try and see. One is Preikestolen Rock in Rogaland, and it's a beautiful rock that you can climb up. It's a hike to the top. It's one of the most picturesque scenes in the world. It overlooks one of the fjords, and it's just incredible. The second hike to do is the Trolltunga, or Troll's Tongue, and it basically looks like a long rock tongue. It's huge, that sticks out in above a fjord, above the water of the sea, and it's in Hardanger, and if you can get there, it's incredible. Another hike, it's pretty tough but well worth doing, is to climb Mount Scala. It's a hard 16-kilometre hike. It's 1,848 metres high and takes 8 hours to do. So you're only really doing 8 hours and 16 kilometers. It's a pretty tough one to do. If you want to relax, take it easy and enjoy the sights after that, you can go on the Flam railway journey. It's one of the most amazing railway journeys in the entire world. And it's also one of the steepest gradient railway journeys in the world. It goes from the top of one of the fjords down to the bottom, where you can get a boat that takes you back to Bergen. It's pretty incredible. So it wouldn't really be Norway unless we also talked about some of the more exotic things. And if it doesn't sound exotic already, this will definitely bring you out there. We're going to talk about Svalbard. I know I haven't been to Svalbard, but a lot of people I know have been there, and they say it's an incredible experience. Svalbard is not your typical tourist experience. So it's an Arctic island that's far, far, far to the north. And it's more further north than Alaska or any of the Canadian islands as well. So it's closer to the Arctic Circle than any other European point. It's desolate, it's barren, it has nothing but black sandy desert. In summer, which lasts from June to August, it's densely clogged with fog, so it's really, really, really an alien landscape. But in summer, little tiny delicate Arctic flowers come out, and it's supposed to be one of the most beautiful experiences to see such a barren landscape turn into beautiful, beautiful places. I once knew a guy who worked and lived there, and he said it was an incredible experience, but it's very difficult to do. They have one of the most interesting visa policies in the world. Anyone who wants to go there to live or work can do so, no problem. But they don't have a social service system there at all. If you go to work, you have to just stay there and be self-sufficient, or try and generate your own job, or you can even go and open a mine, they say, if you want to do that, and coal mining is one of the big things there. But it is a very, very difficult place to stay, to survive and to flourish in, because of the desolate landscape and the unusual nature of the island itself. It's also an unsafe island. It has a rifle requirement policy. So if you are visiting Svalbard, or if you're staying for a long while, legally, if you go outside a settlement, you have to carry a rifle with you. If you're caught without a rifle, you can be arrested. It's a kind of an incredible thing. It's also what's called a living museum. You're not allowed to pick up anything, even if it's a stray boot just on in the sands outside the settlements. You have to leave them there. Svalbard is designated as a living museum island. So it's one of those strange places. It's locked in time, a population of only a few thousand people. I think it's 2,000 people, and polar bears, caribou, Arctic foxes, whales, sea lions, walruses. It's an incredible, incredible place. But definitely, if you have the chance, everybody that I've spoken to who's been there said, try and get there. It's not that it's one of those exotic landscapes that's sandy beaches and beautiful sunshine and stuff. It's just that it's so different. It makes you feel different. It makes you take you out of your comfort zone. It's definitely an adventure holiday, but as expensive as Norway is, and Norway is damn expensive, Svalbard is even more so. It can be 4 to 5 times more expensive. So if you're buying a cup of coffee in Oslo in Norway, it costs you 3 or 4 euros. If you're buying a cup of coffee in Svalbard, it can cost you 10 to 15 euros depending on where you're going. And there are not many places to go. It's because there's nothing there. Everything has to be imported. So that brings us to the end of our Norwegian adventure. I hope you enjoyed Travel Pop this week on Cavan Online Radio. You've been listening to your host, Daniel Downey, and join us next week where we'll be going to the other end of the continent and talking about Turkey.